Hello, it's Wendy from Willow Wanders, and I'm back with another round of Art Journal with me. I am working in this Sidekick Journal that I've been working in for many months now. And if you're not familiar with what a Sidekick Journal is, it is a journal that you don't work super intentionally in. You keep it on your desk as a sidekick, and you can add things willy-nilly to it. So you're not thinking ahead, like, what do I want these pages to look like? It's more like, what scraps are on my desk that I can add to this? And what leftover paint is on my palette that I can just smush into this? Or what leftover ink is on this art foamy stamp and I can just stamp it into the journal. So I'm sort of loving working this way because I'm just not the most natural art journaler. I actually do much better with a Sidekick journal. And because I have so many projects that I'm always working on, I never have a lack of just excess stuff, excess collage fodder, excess paint, excess ink, excess, fussy cut things, just really a lot of excess, I guess. And the excess can really make for a really cool Sidekick journal, unlike anything that I've ever really done before, and also different than other Sidekick journals look, because if you have a Sidekick journal, like, your Sidekick journal is going to be very unique to how you make art and the types of materials that you use that become leftovers. So I'm just I'm just taping in one of the tags from the tag swap that we just did in Fodder School 4 in April. April with Tracy Wozniak. So I've got a bunch of mail art that is on my desk, and I've got tags, and then some people included other pieces of collage fodder in with their envelopes. And I just thought that this tag was gorgeous from Jill, and it looked really good with another piece of paper that was already in the journal. And then this piece of collage fodder I also thought was gorgeous. So the beauty of doing a mail art swap is that you can sort through what comes your way and you can decide what you think is super gorgeous, and then you can audition it into a journal or another piece of art and see if you want to add it there. So at this point, I'm adding this really pretty leaf to a page in my journal that I think it looks great with. You'll see when I flip it over how pretty it looks on that page. And if you're wondering how that page got all grungy like that, you can watch yesterday's Art Journal with Me video, or I don't know if it'll be yesterday's, but it'll be my previous Art Journal with Me video. And yeah, that just looks so yummy to me. Those blues and greens of that leaf, along with the green and all of the text that's under that green. These pieces here, they came from an envelope from the mail art swap. So one of the things that Tracy Wozniak had us do in April of Fodder School 4 was she had us decorate the envelopes. So I kind of love what comes in the mail in the form of what ends up on the envelope, not just because Tracy had us intentionally decorate the envelopes, but also, the postage that has the postmarks on it and whatever other miscellaneous thing happens to your envelope. There's usually a lot of really good collage fodder coming in on the envelope. So I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with what came on the envelopes. And these images were adhered to the outside of the envelopes. And the person who sent them to me, I'm sorry that I don't know her name offhand, but the person that sent them adhered them right to the corners. And when I was trying to cut the images off of the envelopes, it was just easier to cut through the whole envelope and not try to get it off just the front. And then after I had cut it out, I thought, wow, these would really make fantastic pockets because they're already glued on two sides. And so I started playing with them. I started grunging them up with some aging fluid. I learned that technique in Fodder School 1. And yeah, aging fluid is a great thing just to keep on your art journaling desk if you've got a desk that's dedicated to it. I don't have a dedicated desk. I'm always cleaning up my desk depending on what I'm working on, but I'm hoping that in a few months, when my art studio is finished, I will have a dedicated space that is just very messy and always full of debris and junk and excess stuff and all the adhesives that you use with art journaling, that I can just keep it very messy, because I do think that a messy desk is actually probably the right desk to do art journaling at least if you're doing art journaling in a messy way, because really a lot of the beauty of a messy art journal is the spontaneous art that you get when you just grab what's on your desk. So there's kind of like a theme that runs through a lot of this movement, which is spontaneity, freedom, not thinking too hard, just not attaching a ton of value onto the outcome of something. So having a desk that's just kind of full of junk, like you never know what you're going to pick up that's just going to be really cool in your art journal. So doing a mail art swap like we did in Fodder School 4 just this past month, April, that's a great way of just getting a bunch of random stuff onto your art desk. So I've got some collage fodder that came from a different swapper, and I decide, you know what, I'm just going to make that piece of collage fodder look like a tag, even though it started out as just a rectangle, but it'll be more fun if it looks like a tag. So I start punching a hole, then I get out my little reinforcement puncher, which is a little bit busted at this point. If you've ever busted a punch, you know how frustrating that is. But anyway, I grabbed this green envelope because I'm in love with the color. Obviously, that's one of the colors that I even mixed up in paint yesterday. And I decided to make a reinforcement out of that. So again, I grabbed this reptile glue that is kept in a little metal tipped applicator and my craft tweezers. And I just get that reinforcement on there. And probably when I go back to my desk, I'll put some kind of ribbon into that. But I really like this envelope pocket that I made that just happened spontaneously. Like, who knew you could make a really cool little pocket out of the corner of an envelope? I never did, but it just happens. When you just have a bunch of junk on your desk, you just kind of figure out what to do with it, essentially. I think that looks so good right there. You could, maybe you'd think it was all too busy with the other thing that's going on the left-hand side, but I kind of like it. Anyway, I got this other tag from Imke, and it is so gorgeous that as soon as I saw it, I knew I have got to get this in my journal. And so I thought, all right, how am I going to get it in there? Maybe there's a way that does not involve the washi tape method, so I could try something else. So I thought, what about, I don't know if you call these things belly bands? It's got to be a belly band. So anyway, I wish I knew everyone's name who sent me these things. Someone sent me some amazing fabric fodder. And I thought, you know what? I'll use this band thing and I'll use that as the belly band. So I had to switch adhesives because if anything was going to be able to stick fabric to paper, I was thinking it would have to be this thing called Fabri-Tac. And so that's what I did. I put some Fabri-Tac on the page. You really have to hold it there for a while to get it to adhere. I think it is gonna work. I'll really only know when I go back up to my art journal and see if that worked. I mean, maybe there's other kind of adhesives that would adhere fabric permanently or almost permanently to paper. I just don't know of them. If you know of an adhesive that would do that, leave a comment and let me know. Because I really like adding fabric elements to any mixed media art. I'm a huge lover of fabric. I've probably mentioned this before, but I'm feeling very, very drawn to working with more fabrics in the near future. I don't have the space right now to do it in my current studio, but I'm building another studio in my home, in my attic, which I've got videos about that if you're curious to see the progress on that. But one of the major reasons why is I just am feeling really, really, really drawn to fabric and paper. I'm not less drawn to paper. I'm really drawn to both. So I'm looking forward to doing some projects that are very fabric based. But so I was really loving that one of the fodder school students, she must be a quilter. That must be why she had those fabrics. But I'm really, really looking forward to that. And I love that she sent these fabric pieces of fodder so I could get them into my journal because I love that tag. It reminds me of a night sky. So, all right, let's see what else I end up doing here. I don't think I do that much more, but oh yeah, there's me showing you that fodder that she sent. That is just the cutest thing. Like, I cannot wait until I have all my fabrics and all my papers all in one spot and I can just whip out some fabric garland like the one that just showed up there. So, okay, so I've got, yeah, now I remember what I did. So I've got this other little mini envelope and I'm like, okay, I want to put it in the journal. What would I put in the journal? And of course, I've still got all these little pieces of collage fodder floating around my desk. And I just start thinking, well, what if I make a spontaneous assemblage of these scraps of paper? And it'll be like a little collage in an envelope in the journal. And what I absolutely love and adore about what we do in this community is that it literally has no rhyme, reason, or meaning other than it's fun to do. Like we do it for pure pleasure. And I'm sure there's lots of things that humans do just for pleasure. I can think of many. But I love that we do this for pleasure. And I love that we have this worldwide gigantic community of people that do it. And so we've legitimized it and we've made it so that we don't have to feel guilty about doing it. So I'm looking for more fodder and I open up an envelope that I hadn't actually opened up yet. And I discover that there is an absolutely magical, gorgeous tag art in there and also gorgeous scraps from Lori Hampton and a wonderful card that she included that I must put in this journal. Like I've got to get that in here somehow. So anyway, I'm just playing around with this, seeing what I can do. And I noticed that there's a little plus sign on that fodder. And I think, you know what? I'm just going to staple that on there so that the plus sign shows out the little hole. Anyway, I just love how stuff comes together like that. And it happens to look okay on that page and it kind of makes the page a little bit more exciting than it was. And I just use that reptile glue in a little metal tipped applicator bottle and I adhere my new little pocket. Oh my gosh, so cute. Yay. So anyway, meaningless fun. I love it. I absolutely love it.